Biavix asked, would I say that Burning Man is what changed the game for me? Burning Man played a huge part in changing my life for a number of reasons. First off, it exposed me to people that were not following the scripts that I had been exposed to so far. Keep in mind, my first year was 98. The internet was still, smelled like talcum powder and was in its baby stages. So being exposed to people and lifestyles that were outside of what I'd grown up with was very unusual. So suddenly to be surrounded by people, many of which who were artists or gypsies and who were happy, totally blew my mind. There was no place in that for my worldview. I thought you either were a white collar worker, a blue collar worker, or a stay-at-home dad, or a bum. And here I met people who'd found, etched away, created their own path, and so that was like a huge, suddenly I realized that the world was not a highway, it was a lake. And there was not just a path, there was, an infinite number of ways that you could do things. So that was the first way that Burning Man just blew my mind. And then as I experienced it more and more, the second was the crazy amount of support. I never realized how stunted I was by judgment and fear of judgment, even more than judgment, fear of judgment. Teeny tiny judgments, like someone going, pfft, rolling their eyes, caused me to be afraid of expressing myself. Thank goodness the internet also came around about this time for me, because I was able to express and create from the safety of my own room and publish from my own room and never actually get on a stage. I could do a digital stage, share writing and whatever, and not have to deal with the brunt, the painful, exaggerated pain of someone going, whatever. And so through Burning Man, I started to meet more and more people that had this attitude of support, that radical acceptance, that radical inclusion, which means, it doesn't mean I love everything you do. It means that I totally appreciate that you're trying to express yourself in an honest way. And so if I can do anything to help you express yourself from the heart, I want to do that. And so finding Burning Man as this kind of anchoring thing that helped me to, like when I meet people in a Burning Man setting, or we both in a Burning Man, boom, that's the anchor. I may not, our political feelings might be different, the way we live our lives might be different, but I know that they're going to support me as long as I don't actively get in the way of them living their life. And if I do something they think it's silly, what do they care? If it's honest, if I'm not trying to manipulate or hurt or yeah. And then the third way that Burning Man changed my life is through the studying, the embracing of the principles, and then trying to integrate those into everyday life. Because for many years, I would leave Burning Man and then become so depressed that this experience where I stepped into my highest self and was acted with people and received expressions and support from people, and I got to be and support people and love people without this like guardedness, and I got to dress in a way that was like my superhero self, and then I went back to the default world where I had to hold that in. And so for several years it was so hard, and then after a while, I realized two things. One, Burning Man is never more than a year away. And any good project can be started now. And two, how come I can only do those things on the Playa? How come I can only dress weird? How come I can only look different when I'm around other people? How come I can only gift? And gifting is the part that changed my life the most dramatically. The concept of seeing the world not as transactional, not as a place to get, but as a place filled with opportunities to give elements and pieces of myself to make other people's worlds a little bit better. So this billions of opportunities in the world, all the people and places and things are all places not to take advantage of or manipulate, but are places that I can make a little bit better. And if I do that, I will selfishly get joy because of the way that gifting works. I raise you up, your joy raises me up. That changed my life. Made my goals, my desires, the way I make decisions, the way I interact with coworkers, friends, lovers, the world. I changed everything. And I'm still learning, and I'm still being inspired, and I'm still trying to recalibrate myself every week, every day, more to that person that I am when I'm fully surrounded by the supportive community of Burning Man. I mean, Hug Nation, the weekly show that we do online, is that attempt. It's actually, gosh, it's going on over 10 years of a weekly recalibration to this, trying to be that person that I am on the Playa, because I know that not only does it make me happier, but it makes me act in the world in the way that makes other people happier, and it creates those ripples. In the enclosed space of the Playa, those ripples turn into a standing wave, and it's a magic that you can feel. But that doesn't mean that it isn't powerful when those ripples go into the world as well. So yes, Burning Man did change my life, continues to change my life. And one reason why I get a little defensive sometimes, and I knee-jerk, and I go to its defense when I hear any bad words or bad things said about it. Not to say it isn't deserving of criticism, but just like when someone's, my mom, she may have her faults, but you better not speak bad of her. And I feel the same way about Burning Man. This year, Pink Heart is yet to have its placement, but we are building and working and getting ready for 2014 Powerful Pink showing. We will have our pink couches, we will have our vegan ice cream, we will have our iced cucumber water during the hot days. We look forward to loving you and hugging you and gifting to you and sharing the magic of Black Rock City with you. See you in the dust.